All right, what's up, guys? Now we're going to talk about research, okay? But before we get too crazy, I just want you guys to look, this is the goal. You don't have to overthink it. We'll talk a little bit about equipment, but it's not about technology or equipment or all that crazy stuff. It's about creating, launching, and monetizing, okay? Those are the goals. Those are the things. And then being consistent and having an ongoing conversation with people, okay? So, this is going to be you, the happy person. The crazy thing is podcasts are everywhere nowadays, okay? It's not dead, it's growing, it's a booming industry. The people can listen to on their TVs or their speakers in their house, their computers, their tablets or their phones, okay? So if you're putting out good content and you're grabbing attention and you're carrying a conversation, right? And it's really not actually about content, it's more about conversations and conversions, okay? When you're making these podcasts, you really want to connect with your audience because you want to be someone that they go to weekly and have a interaction with, right? And if you're thinking that this is just a content game, you're wrong. This is a conversation and a conversion game, okay? So if you're creating awesome content and you have a high converting funnel on the back end, you're going to be setting yourself up for amazing success, okay? So that's the real secret sauce to building a six-figure podcast and reaching more people and just getting bigger, okay? And the beautiful thing is once you have your podcast rolling, you can start interviewing other people that have large followers and they're going to introduce you to their followers and you're going to just be able to blow this up until you are massively successful. And that's the beauty of this whole business of podcasting and creating these beautiful pieces of content and pieces of conversation that are going to be reaching more people and changing more lives, okay? So let's just look at a couple interesting things that I think everybody should kind of get excited about, all right? Now, I didn't make these, I don't want any credit, but it's just interesting, okay? So, monthly online audio listening. They haven't done 2019 or 20, but this is 2018. Going estimated 108 listeners are on audio last month, okay? Monthly audio listening. Here's the age between 12 and 24, 88. Between 25 and 54, 73. Over 55, 33%. So between 12 and 54, it's a huge market, but everybody's listening to podcasts, and it's just going to keep on growing, right? Weekly online audio listening. Look how it's growing. We're in a steady uptrend where if you get your podcast going now, you're going to be set for a long time and be happy, especially if you do it the right way, which is what we're going to be talking about. Okay. Average time weekly online audio listeners spend listening to online audio. Wow. 160 million people. Now, I think that is quite a few people, and there's got to be people in there that are definitely interested in whatever you want your podcast to be about. And we'll tune in and check it out, People in their car keeps growing. They want to listen to podcasts. They don't want to listen to. So here's where people are listening: Pandora, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google, Slacker, and all these are going to keep growing. Last month too, Pandora, Spotify is getting big. The cool thing that Spotify just started is you can now run ads for your podcast in Spotify, which gives podcasters such a great opportunity to reach Pandora, Spotify, blah, blah, blah. This is brands for different music. Audio brand used most. Spotify is getting big. Pandora, Apple Music. You think podcast is the big play. Everybody's trying to get a piece of the action. So it's important. And what we're going to do is show you where you're going to have all your stuff. And the other thing that you need to think about is everybody's getting those Alexas and their Google, Google Homes. So everybody's going to have just them talking. They're going to be like, hey, Alexa, play my podcast. Sorry if you have an Alexa in the room. And it's just you're going to be in people's homes. You're going to become a part of their thing. In-car media, a podcast, 23%, is growing between male and women age. Podcasting. All right. Podcasting. I can't say the word. It's on its way up, man. We're in the uptrend. And I'm sure that's even higher. This is only 2018. We just keep on growing. Listening. Monthly podcast listening. This is all went up already. So this is just showing you that it's an uptrend, and things are going to keep on building podcast listening. I think this is the one I was really excited about. Number of podcasts listened to. There's people that are listening to 4 or 5 podcasts, or 6 to 10 even, per week. That's a lot. People are really digging it, and they want your message. They want to hear what you're doing. People are listening on their computer and their smartphone, where they listen to their, something like I said, at home, when they have their Alexa, their Google Home playing podcasts. And we're going to show you how to do SEO, where yours is going to come up first whenever you want, whenever someone asks Alexa in speech. And then we actually, I'm learning a lot about funnels, where you can sell stuff from Amazon and things like that by just having people talk to their Alexa. It's really interesting stuff. Walking around in their car, they're at work, people are listening to it everywhere. Listening. Think about podcast episodes you listen to. Most of the podcast, the entire podcast episode. So that means if you're putting out 45 minutes of content, or 20, people are listening. 5% of people are listening to the whole podcast. You know how incredible that is in an age where we have like fish? You want to put out really good content, and people are going to listen to it, which is nice, especially if you have a business behind it. Increasing podcast playback speed, smart speakers. All right, I think that's yeah. So you guys can go wherever this website is and check it out yourself. But I just thought that was really cool. Now let's look at iTunes. Okay, so new and noteworthy. All right, there's 100 or so podcasts that always get. Now let's talk a little bit about this, because this is going to be our goal. You can get to new and noteworthy in first 8 weeks, they think, of a podcast coming out. If you already have a podcast, that's fine. But you want to get up here, because just think about what that would do for your business, okay? And it's not about all the listeners, actually. It's about having very, your desired listener, your ideal customer, your ideal fan. Imagine if you just get 100 of those people to listen and then know who you are in the world of 9 billion people. Just think about how your bottom line can change from just 100 perfect primed listeners that are interested in what you have to say and want to get to know you more. That's the beauty of this, okay? You can become an interesting part of your ideal customer's life. That's what this is going to do for you. So we want to get everybody to become new and noteworthy in the first 8 weeks of their podcast. Not saying it's going to happen. I can't promise anything. That's my goal. That's what I want to do for you. I want to teach you how to get the most listeners and how to get the most out of it. Okay, so let's just let's look at a new and noteworthy. Anxiety. Everybody has anxiety. So look at this. They have pretty art. It's kind of scary. I think that's probably why I clicked it. I read a crazy book about, selling through intimidation. So you scare people into listening. And a lot of people are suffering with anxiety, though, and they need help. That's another thing. If you're going to help people, you've got to do it right. So, wow, they have 670 5-star reviews. So that's some number. And we're going to talk about how to teach your listeners to give you reviews. They must be doing something pretty wild. Maybe they're related, or they got. But anyways, they have a good, fairly short detail, which is also interesting. Look how many episodes they have, though. This is probably why they're new. 52 episodes. And, well, it goes back to 2016, so maybe this is just their new season. So they've been building for a while, though. But this is kind of a good place to come. I mean, look at all, they have very clean art, for all of their stuff. Podcast. Again, a little bit shorter. They only have 2 episodes where they're new and noteworthy, because they have 129. Wow. And look, they only have 1 real episode. Episode 1 with Chris Graham. So, they must be interviewing. That's really how you build these crazy things. Is you can tap into other people's audiences by interviewing them for your podcast. Oh, and HBO Go is backing it. That's interesting. But it's good just to come here and kind of check out, what are other podcasters doing? But let's look a little bit more into how to become how to get that new and noteworthy. Okay, so this is from ConvertKit. Again, I don't want any credit, but this is basically saying 7 tips on how to rank your podcast in the top 100. Choose a memorable name for your podcast. Like when you're thinking of your name, all the energy that people have to use to figure out what your podcast is about is energy they could be using listening to your podcast. So I want it to be real simple. Keep it stupid simple. Choose a memorable name. Encourage your listeners to review your podcast. Now, you can do this. I like to have an intro, kind of, not like an intro, but like a space where I tell people this at the beginning and then at the end. And then I also have on my website, I show them exactly how to leave me a 5-star review so that I can become, news and noteworthy. And so I can get away with things, or I can build my podcast. Sorry. And then you want to give away freebies, give them shout outs, and host giveaways. We're going to go into a lot of detail on having contests because people love free stuff. They'll give you all kinds of rewards. Create attention grabbing cover art. We already talked about that, but make sure that your stuff looks crisp and pretty. So you want it to have the full effects, and I'll show you guys some great places to get incredible art. Promote it on social media. That. Encourage your local and online community to subscribe and share. So more encouragement. Write good copy to increase podcast ranking. So this is kind of cool. You want to look on the SEO and make sure that it all flows together. And we're going to show you how to get transcripts for your stuff and so on. Have a private archive of already produced. That's what we're also going to do. And then, that's all they say. So we're going to go a little bit deeper, though. This is just kind of get your idea rolling on how I can become new and noteworthy. All right. So let's talk just a little bit more just about who your perfect customer is for your podcast. Who is your customer avatar? Who's going to be listening to your podcast? Who's going to be wanting to work with you? What problem are you solving, and who is it specifically for? Okay, so when you're thinking of your customer avatar, it's good to get incredibly detailed. You're supposed to come up with a name. Okay, so my ideal customer, his name is John. He's interested in marketing. He's already got a business that's doing good, but he's actually stuck and a little overwhelmed with all of the different aspects that go into making a business run, plus all the new marketing that's coming out. And he's going to listen to my podcast because I'm going to teach him how to stop being so overwhelmed with his business and to just get rid of the bullshit and start focusing on one thing that's going to move his business to profits and success. Okay, so he probably is married, lives in the suburbs of Phoenix, and he listens to podcasts in his car and while he's at the gym. Really interested developing more automation for his business. He typically has about $50,000 that he can spend. So if I created a course, I could probably charge about $1,000 to target him specifically. And these are the things you want to think about. Okay. For my other podcast, which is about personal development, my age range, I'm thinking more between 18 and 30 for people that really want to change their lives and set themselves up for success by learning about happiness, self-discipline, being strong, and having self-confidence. I'm really looking for people that are into growth already and want to build up and become more and thrive in their lives. They typically have only about, I'd say $10,000 or $1,000 a year. $10,000 a year that they can freely spend. My courses for them would be a little bit less, my products, but I'd be able to help more people because there's more of a deliver and help a lot more people. These are just ideas to start thinking about, though, but you want to write it all down. I usually take a piece of paper and I just kind of just freehand, don't judge spelling, nothing, and I just freehand and just shoot it all out there. And then if you've ever read the book called Psycho-Cybernetics, okay, it's all about visualizing. So you want to visualize your customer listening to your podcast, okay, and then really enjoying it. What is going on in their mind? What is the story that they have? And where can you really help them? And where can you fit your podcast into their schedule so that every time they listen, they're getting something out of listening to your podcast? Because that's what's going to make them come back. That's going to be the conversation that you're holding with your customer, okay? And then the other thing you want to think about is, do they have an iPhone or a Android phone, and do they listen on their tablet? Do they listen at the gym? Do they listen in their car? Not that important, but it's important just to visualize where and how you're going to fit into your customer's life, okay? And this is your ideal customer. These are the whales. These are the ones that you really want to be in front of all the time with your brand, okay? And then you can start to look, whenever I'm doing more research, and I start to think about, what are what content has already been out there that has really done well. Frank Kern, man, he's my dude. So I don't really want to listen to him right now. But what I want you to do is you go to people that you already really are in your niche and are killing it, and then what is the content that they're putting out, all videos, what have they already been putting out that has really hit well with your audience already? Oh, sort by. If I keep Frank Kern, get back. Okay. What you want to do is you want to go to these guys. You want to click sort by most popular, right? You guys haven't heard of Frank Kern. He's a pretty awesome dude. And of course, their older stuff is going to be. We all know Tony Robbins was very viral. He's probably paid for some of these, had some ads. Number one thing that affects revenue. All right. See, these are really good headlines for your podcast. Can this one simple thing transform your ... leaves you, kind of wondering. Money is everywhere. So you can go to YouTube though, and you can start looking up most popular. This is just to get some ideas of what is going to fit into your customer's personal place. Their mind, their life, their story, so that you can really start to think like, what should my content be like? What are they already listening to? What are they really into devouring and learning about? That you can have a unique. So do what is hard. That episode, and I can kind of get some ideas, and I can create my own. I'm not saying to rip anybody off. I'm just saying, be somebody who's already in the conversation, who has a unique point. Your mind is the key to your success. Psychology of wealth. Stop negative thinking. See, these are good headlines. And look, 2.1 million, 2.9 million, 1 point have had these things resonate. And then you can listen to these, and you can start coming up with your own personal plan of action that's going to take you to the next step. So I hope this was helpful, but this is just thinking more about who are your listeners, where are they listening to your podcast? Why are they maybe listening to it? And what value and uniqueness can you bring to these episodes to truly be an asset to your, big whale, your perfect customer, your perfect listener, okay? Because you want to create a relationship, you want to create a conversation, okay? And you want them to be part of it. So this is just kind of to get your wheels turning about how to create your best work, okay? Not your perfect work, your best work. Something that you can create, launch, and monetize that's going to fit in with your customer right away. But, it's going to build a relationship. It's going to make you have a strong brand. It's going to create something beautiful for your life. That's what I want.